Okay, the next thing that we're going to cover here is the user interface on both devices. Now, the Apple iPad 2 over here, it's pretty basic. You have your basic 3 screens here. If you swipe over to the right, you have your search. Swipe back to the home screen, you have your main area here. You swipe over to the right, you have more apps over there. At the bottom you have a dock with your 4 favorite apps that you can change up. If you don't like these, you can change them up to something else. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward. You have your home button down here, where if you're anywhere from your home screen, it'll bring you back. If you're in a program, it'll bring you back here. So you always know it'll bring you back here to your starting point, and then you can branch off from there. Now the user interface on the touchpad over here is a little different. You still have your dock at the bottom, which you have 1 more item in. You have 5 items in instead of 4. You have your settings that you can go into by pressing the 6th icon over here. You have your apps here. You have downloads there, which are also apps, so you downloaded them from the HP app catalog. You have favorites here, which are things that you can create, shortcuts to websites, things like that, and your settings here. A little bit different approach. Now, like with the Apple iPad 2, you swipe over, you have a search. Well, you have a search on here, and it's always on your home screen. It's called Just Type. So they're very similar. You can just click on there and type whatever you want to search for it. But the thing where there's a big difference is this card metaphor that WebOS uses. Everything that you open, every program that you use is opened into a card, and it's placed on your home screen here, and you can just scroll through them. Now both devices, it's like butter, the user interface on both devices is smooth, it's very polished. A lot of work went into both user interfaces. But this card system, to me, is something special because it allows you to organize your workflow in a way that you really can't do on the Apple iPad 2 or even a Motorola Xoom or any other Android tablet. Right here I have a stack of things that could be related, and right now they're not for the purposes of this video. They're not. I just pulled up some different cards and stacked them. They're all web pages. They don't have to be. But you can organize your workflow. So this could be one task that I do while I have solitaire over here and I'm looking up something else over here. So visually, it's very easy to organize stuff on the WebOS touchpad here. And I really like it, and it really actually fascinates me, this user interface. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I really like it. I would suggest to you, if you're looking at both devices, definitely get your hands on an HP TouchPad and try this interface out if you've never tried it before. Because it's something that's really special as far as I'm concerned, and it makes the computing, I can wrap my head around my tasks a little bit better, and you're not always going in and out of things, in and out of programs. You have your visual representation of what you're doing here, and if you don't want to deal with something anymore, you can just get rid of it. You can just swipe up and it's gone. You just got rid of a program. Off your plate. It's like clearing off your desk, only in a virtual form. Also, the gestures on WebOS are very interesting. Let me bring up another program and show you. Let's see, let's go to Facebook here and bring that up. This is a Facebook app, which is really nice, and I just set up recently, I set up a Tech Harvest Facebook page, so if you're interested, friend me, I'll accept your friend request. It's TEK Harvest, TEKHARVEST. But the reason I bring this up is I just want to show you some gestures here. Here's a full screen app here. Now if I want to just bring it into a card view, I can hit the home button down here, or I can swipe up. I can just swipe up from the bottom of the screen and it brings it into a card view. If I was in a different screen orientation, I could do the same thing with that. If I had it open here, just swipe up from the bottom of the screen and there you go. Same thing. Now interestingly enough, you can dismiss these items not only by swiping them up, but by slingshotting them down. Now there's 2 ways you could do it. This is one way where you do it in a landscape mode, where you just pull it down and pop, gone. It even gives you a little sound effect. If you flip it 180 degrees from that, you have your speakers up top here. You actually get a little Angry Birds Easter egg here. So listen up. Very cool. To me, it puts a smile on my face. and it gives the tablet personality, which are big points for me. I really like that. I really like it's different. It's something not run-of-the-mill, not what you expect. Little surprises here and there. I really, really like that. Does any of that matter? Again, it's up for you to decide. I would just recommend that you get your hands on an HP TouchPad, try out WebOS, and try out this card metaphor, this user interface, because in my opinion, the user interface is second to none. I prefer it to the Apple iPad user interface. I also prefer it to Honeycomb Android. Now the other thing that goes hand in hand with this, I'm going to compare the two, is multitasking. Now if you want to accomplish multitasking on the Apple iPad 2, you click the home button twice, and it brings up all of your recent programs that you used, and you can actually scroll through them here. Okay? You even have a media player over to the left here. Okay? But the metaphor here is you always have a home screen and you branch out from that. So you go into an app, if you want to do something else, you come out of that, go back to the home, and go into another app. The metaphor on WebOS, when you multitask, is that you have all of your things right here on your home screen, all the things that you're using, anything that has been open recently, and you can just jump to it. I could just bring up another web page, it'll bring another card over here. Swipe up on that, bring it to the card view. These are all your things. It's more in your face. It's almost like having a desk, and you have things on your desk, you have a pile on your desk of related things. And you know, it's sort of like a reminder, oh, I have to, go to this. You don't have to go hunt for it. Now, the one thing that's really fascinating about this multitasking on this device is that there's no pausing involved. On an Apple iPad 2, you actually have, when you have a program, you've been running a program, when you move to another program, it pauses that program, except for a couple of select things, such as a media player. That's true multitasking where it's in the background. But the majority of the things that you actually use on this device, if you switch to another program, you're pausing the other program that you were using and you go into the new program. With this device here, you actually have true multitasking. So here's one of my videos here, and it's one of my latest ones, 165. 166 isn't done processing yet. So let me play this, start playing this, and then I can go and do other things. Okay, in this video we're going to turn this down so I don't talk over myself. But I'm running this video here. I'll go and minimize it, and it's still playing there. Let's get some of these things out of the way here so you can see. Still playing in the background there. Now if I want, I can go and do something else. I can go bring up an app, Solitaire. Go play a game of Solitaire if I want. Klondike Draw 3 Solitaire. As it loads up and deals me my hand, let me increase the volume here. And my YouTube video is still playing. So it's very cool, you're actually still multitasking. Everything that you have been running, you're still running in the background until you dismiss it, until you dismiss the card. Or I could just pause the video. But as you can see, it's still moving, still running, and the multitasking on this device is head and shoulders above anything that's out there. Head and shoulders above the iPad, head and shoulders above Android Honeycomb. So for me, that's very important. The card metaphor is very interesting to me, and the multitasking makes this more like an actual computer experience. You don't feel like you're using something that has lesser capabilities. You feel like you can do a lot of things on this device, and that's very important to me. So that pretty much rounds out the comparison between the devices. What do you think? Again, this video is for you. This video is to give you all the information you need to make an informed decision. Okay, so what do I think about all of this? I pitted these tablets against each other, feature for feature, spec for spec, function for function. The iPad shined, the HP TouchPad shined. Each of them had their own areas where they really shined. The HP TouchPad has some shortcomings. The app catalog isn't there quite yet. The battery life is a little less. But at the end of the day, if I could only have one of these tablets, if I could only own one, I would choose the HP TouchPad. And the reason I say that is because this card metaphor is genius. In my opinion, the user interface on this device is superior to that on the iPad. I'm not an app guy. I don't use a lot of apps. I prefer to use the internet a lot and then a select handful of apps. Now, as I mentioned on the review of the HP TouchPad, the handful of apps that I use are really not even on it. So that's a drawback. But like I said, I'm not an app guy, so that strength of the Apple iPad 2 really doesn't do much for me. What really interests me on this device is the user interface and the multitasking. Really, the multitasking is the key factor why I would choose this device over the Apple iPad 2. The multitasking on it, you can do a lot of things, you can get a lot of work done on this device, and you don't necessarily always realize you're working on lesser powered hardware. You have the full internet on this, you have Flash on this device, so you can surf the internet and pretty much see everything out there. One thing that's killer when I use a tablet is when I come to something that makes me realize I should go switch over to a laptop. And if I realize that I have to go switch over to a laptop, I think to myself, why am I using a tablet to begin with? So for me, the HP TouchPad is less of that. I get less of that feeling where I have to, oh, I should probably be using something else because this piece of hardware just isn't there yet, just isn't strong enough. Now don't get me wrong, both devices are great, and if you're into tablets, if you want to try out a tablet, you'd be happy with either one of them. And I think I've given you enough information in this video to decide for yourself what tablet was going to work for you the best. So for me, the user interface, this brilliant card metaphor, and the multitasking more than make up for all of the HP TouchPad's shortcomings, in my opinion. I enjoy using the device. I want to see what's going to happen in future updates on the device. It really intrigues me. To me, the Apple iPad 2, great device, but I feel like I've been there, I've done that, and I want something new, something exciting, something different. Please post your opinions down below. What do you think? Like I said throughout this video, you decide, you decide. Well, what do you think? What's your opinion? So that pretty much does it for this video, but I have a series of videos upcoming which will pit the HP TouchPad versus the Honeycomb Android tablet, the Motorola Xoom. So I will see you next time.